Welcome back to this lecture. That would be constituting the second lecture of this series related to the introduction of Arabic language and literature. We'll be starting this lecture with a question I had posed a short while ago in the last of my last segment of my last lecture. That was related to the historicity of Arabic language and literature. Like, is it correct to say that Arabic is the oldest language of the world? This question is to be seen in purely historical perspective, historical scientific perspective. The primary thing in this respect is that from the methodological point of view, when we are dealing with the questions of a social or societal phenomenon related to human existence, human culture, or the language legacy of language. Here the primary or the sole criteria of a judgment regarding historicity, that is the how to locate it in terms of time and place, it must be based on some the hard evidences, the scientific evidences. So if we say that Arabic is the oldest language in this world, we have to take into account many parameters. Like, what are the evidences that would prove that it is the oldest language in this world? Because if we say it is the oldest language in this world, we have to relate this this idea to the very concept of time, history of time and place. That is, the historical, geographical perspectives must be over there. Humanity has been fortunate enough to possess a significant legacy of its own in terms of the legacy of the past peoples, past civilizations. We have the legacy of the pharaohs culture of the pharaohs. We have in the Indian subcontinent, we have the legacy of Mohenjo-daro culture, the legacy of Inca and Khmer in other parts of the world. We have the traces of the civilizations in Bilad al-Rafidain, Bilad al-Sham, in Babylonia also, in India, as well as in the East. We have so many examples. So they prove that they simply produce to us some hard evidence, scientific evidences on which our judgments regarding language, literature, in the relation to time and place would be based, and hence we can infer safely in scientific methodological way that this culture was before that culture, this language was before that language. In the domain of language, the evidences we can have would be the inscriptions, the manuscripts. First it will be the inscriptions, then we'll be having the manuscripts, then of course we'll be having the books after the advent of printing press in modern era of our civilization. So in this context, we find that from the historical and scientific perspective, it would be wrong to propose that Arabic is the oldest language in this world. Why? We'll be seeing some evidences in the slides that will be coming, that the oldest inscriptions related to Arabic cannot be dated far beyond the age we find in relation to other cultures, other civilizations like the Pharaoh culture, even the or the Greek culture. The books of the Greek philosophers we have, that's Aristotle and Plato and all, we have their legacy. We have the legacy of the Phoenician, the New Platonic philosophers. In the Indian subcontinent, we have the legacy of the Vedas, the Upanishads, and other books related to language and literature, grammar, like Panini's grammar. Regarding Arabic language and literature, the earliest segments we have in terms of inscriptions or the dates, whether it is Naqsh-e-Nammara or the others, they are not as old as we find the other segments of Eastern legacy or the Western legacy. So, from the historical and scientific perspective, it cannot be claimed that Arabic is the oldest language in this world. It is the youngest Semitic language. Youngest Semitic language. In the Semitic language, we have many. We'll be going through that very shortly. So, it is youngest among them. It doesn't belittle the significance of Arabic language and literature. It is one of the most beautiful, historical, powerful, relevant languages of the world, as we have seen in the statistics, through the statistics a short while ago. So, this is the first thing. And the second thing, in this perspective, we must not forget that while saying anything about, passing any judgment about, analyzing anything about language and literature, we have to base ourselves on purely scientific evidences, and our methodology must be purely scientific. And we must not be confusing between some ideological overturns and the historical realities. So, now let's move to the other points, that is, it is the Afro-Asiatic Semitic languages. Arabic belongs to Afro-Asiatic Semitic languages. These languages have been dated to 4000 Sirsa, 4000 BCE Sirsa. And here the examples are Hebrew, Aramaic, Syriac, Tigrinya, etc. And Arabic is the youngest. This map actually shows the Semitic languages distribution in relation to the Arabian Peninsula. So, we can, just looking at this map, we can simply infer that the two segments of, or the two sides of the Arabian Peninsula, that is the Yemeni side and the Shami side, are very significant. In the Yemeni side, we have the Sabaeans. The Sabaeans are over there. The Qahtanians, the peoples of Hadramaut. So, and as we know that this actually constitutes the core of the original Arabs related and designated as Al-Qahtaniyin. And then you have the Adnaniyin to this segment. In ancient North Arabic, and it was again, the region was inhabited by the Nabateans, by the Hebrew peoples, by the Phoenicians, the Amorites, etc., the Akkadians, etc. And this core actually constitutes the domain of Mesopotamia, as we know. As regards this region that we have, that's the heart of present Saudi Arabia, Najd and Hijaz. So that chiefly consisted of the deserts. Hence, with the exception of certain settlements which have been discovered and which bear historical significance, like Qaryatul Faw, etc., and some historical evidences of settlements, human settlements in and around Riyadh. The major chunk of this region was not well inhabited, and it cannot be designated as a centers of human activity at large. If you just look at this this segment, that is in present Ethiopia, Somalia, etc., where there were some cultural and language ties between this segment and that segment. We have the examples of Abraha al-Habashi in the early Islamic, that pre-Islamic history, which is very much close to the advent of Islam, that happened during the time of the grandfather of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that is Abdul Muttalib. So we have the language interaction between this part of Africa and this part of Asia. So this is again this actually constitutes the grand geographical map or the stage related to the Semitic languages distribution. Now, it's a historical fact regarding the languages. Languages are the social phenomenon developing in a society inhabited by humans, because we're talking about the human language. Language is not something imported or simply revealed, something taken from outside. It's not like that. اللغات كل اللغات في العالم بما فيها اللغة العربية هي ظاهرة اجتماعية، هي ظاهرة إنسانية اجتماعية. اللغات لا تكون منزلة من السماء في السياق العلمي، فاللغات في الحقيقة وليدة المجتمع. هذا المجتمع الذي يتعايش مع الوحدات الأخرى منها في السياق التاريخي. فهنا نجد أن اللغة العربية مثل أي لغة أخذت من الكثير وعطت الكثير، يعني هناك عواصر الأخذ والإعطاء بين اللغات. It's a historical fact regarding the languages that they enter into interaction, active interaction. They give and take much, give to its neighbors and take from its neighbor. So, and that actually constitutes the core of historical linguistics. So Arabic has impacted Persian, Turkish, Hindustani, that is Hindi and Urdu, Kashmiri, Kurdish, Bosnian, Kazakh, Bengali, Malay, Indonesian and Malaysian, Maldivian, Pashto, Punjabi, Albanian, Armenian, Azerbaijani, Sicilian, Spanish, Greek, Bulgarian, Tagalog, Sindhi, Oriya, Hebrew, and African languages such as Hausa, Amharic, Tigrinya, Somali, Tamazight, Swahili, etc. So this is the one aspect, but before that we will be having another aspect, Conversely, Arabic has borrowed some words, mostly nouns, from other languages, including its sister language, that is Aramaic, Persian, Greek, and Latin, and to a lesser extent and more recently from Turkish, English, French, and Italian. Here I'll be simply adding the case of Arabic borrowing words from some Eastern languages, chiefly Indian, that is the Sanskrit. In one of my studies, which has been published in some academic journals in Algeria, alongside a number of lectures delivered on the theme, I have found that Arabic has taken many words. It has borrowed many words from Sanskrit. In one of my studies, I have found that around 100 or 120 words of Arabic have the Sanskrit origin. So, like Zanjabil is a Sanskrit word. In my study, I found that even words like Al-Akkar, which stands for the peasant, the cultivator, Al-Firdaus, that is paradise, Jahannam, Jannah, and many other words, they have their origin in Sanskrit. So, well, that constitutes a separate domain of deliberation involving Arabic and Sanskrit. So, regarding the orthography of Arabic, as we know, any language is divided in terms of history in many phases, reflecting upon the very orthographic structure of that language, the changes, the corpus of language, the change of language, the language structure, the phonetics related to that language, that later on leads to the grammatical formulations. Because it is the orthographic legacy, the orthographic corpus that serves as the primary source of the language formulations. The grammatical formulations, rules and regulations are actually inferred based on that legacy we find, the corpus we find, we have that. So here the earliest segment is classified as is known as the Old. So here it is the Old Arabic. Old Arabic was the Samoic, the Safaitic, and the Hismaic. It is related to the Iron Age, that is 1200, circa 1200 to 550 BC. If we simply recollect the things, we'll be finding that this period is related to Al-Arab al-Ba'ida, the Arabs who are no more. We simply find some descriptions of them, passing references of them, like Samud and Ad, etc. So, what was their language? Their language was Arabic, but how was that actually? We don't have the evidences. We don't have, sometimes we do have some inscriptions, as we'll be finding. We'll be saying, but what were the phonetics? What was their legacy? It simply didn't survive. It didn't reach to us. We don't have access to that legacy because of this huge historical gap. Then ancestor of modern Arabic, 3 lines of poetry by a man found in Ain Evdat, Israel, and dated to around 125 CE, Christian era. So this is the oldest specimen of Arabic language in terms of orthography. Means before that we don't have the recorded evidences, the recorded facets of a language, Arabic language in history. The second is Naqshun Namara, the Namara inscription. That was the epitaph of Lakhmide king Imrul Qais, dating to 328 CE. It was found at Namara, Syria. This is known as Naqshun Namara. The Nabatean inscriptions in an undotted 17-letter Arabic script dating to the 6th century CE, found at 4 locations in Syria, that is Zabad, Jabal, Usais, Harran, and Umul Jimal. The oldest surviving papyrus in Arabic dates to 643 CE, and it uses dots to produce the modern 28-letter of Arabic alphabet. The language of that papyrus and that of the Quran is referred to by linguists as Quranic Arabic, as distinct from its codification soon thereafter into Classical Arabic. Means the specimen we have seen before that. The Samudic, Old Arabic, we don't have the examples. The ancestor of modern Arabic means it was something like a mix between Arabic and non-Arabic. That is the sister language, Naqshun Namara, especially Naqshun Namara and الخط النبطي. فالنقش النمارة يعني فيما نعرف النقش النمارة في الحقيقة ليس في الخط العربي بالضبط، وإنما هو مزيج من الخط العربي والخط النبطي فيما يشكل اللبنة الأولى للخط. يعني فالخط العربي معروف، ولكن هذا الخط في الحقيقة الذي نجده هو ليس خطا عربيا، وإنما هو مزيج. من هنا نقول أن نقش النمارة لا يمثل الخط العربي بالكامل، وإنما نصفه، يمثل نصفه. بالنسبة لي يعني اللغة العربية التي استخدمت في القرآن الكريم، فهذه اللغة هي التي تشكل اللغة الكلاسيكية، اللغة العربية الفصحى الكلاسيكية المعيارية. وهذه اللغة المعيارية في الحقيقة توارثها المجتمع الإنساني العربي، المجتمع الشرقي، المجتمع الإنساني، عربيا أم غير عربي، لأن اللغات في الحقيقة يعني لا تخضع للديانة. اللغات في الحقيقة من المشترك الإنساني. Languages are not limited to any specific domain of religion. So, from the scientific perspective, historic perspective, we cannot identify a language with a specific religion. Like again, it would be wrong to identify Arabic with the Islamic religion. Why? Why? Because even from the early days of the pre-Islamic Arabia, I mean, what has been recorded by history, we find that there were so many ethnicities, religions, and religious cultures in Arabia. Like there were the Christians in Najran, for example. There were the Jews in and around Medina, the Jews in Medina. Likewise, there were the Asabi'ah, the star worshippers in Iraq, in some parts of that is modern day Turkey, that is Harran, Sanliurfa. As we find that Bilad al-Sham was predominantly Christian. So Arabic, we have a large number of Arab poets before Islam and after Islam. whose faith was not Islam. And still we have a large number of the men of letters in Arabic, poets and men of letters and dramatists and fiction writers who do not belong to that religion. So religions, and there's much difference. We have to differentiate between religion and religious culture and language. So the classical Arabic as represented by the Holy Quran, we have the pre-Islamic period, then early Islamic period, then Umayyad and Abbasid and Ottoman, and the modern period in terms of orthography. The Arab geography, if you just look at this image, we can find the location of Arabia. That's the Arabian Peninsula. Why it is Arabian Peninsula and not an island? Because of this segment and that segment. We found that we have waters, we have the seas, this over here, this side and that side. Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, present day, Gulf of Oman and Arabian Gulf. Okay. Here we'll be having the Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean. And you have the Mediterranean Sea over here, Bahr Rum, Al-Muhit, Al-Rumi, Al-Abyad al-Mutawassit, which is known as Al-Abyad al-Mutawassit in modern day Arabic. So we can say that, well, this stretches to Africa, and this large segment stretches to Persia and Turkey. So that's why it is known as the Arabian Peninsula. So in terms of geography, natural geography, we can say that these areas are usually green. You have greenery over there. Greenery over there. Here it is Arub al-Khali, the great desert. The great desert, which as seen in some historical sources, that there were some of the Al-Arab al-Ba'ida, like Ad and Samud. Ad lived in these areas. Ad. Iram, the city of Iram has been identified in present day Oman, city of Iram. The Samud have been identified with this place around Tabuk, that is Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, near Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara. Al-Ula is stretched to this Petra region, Al-Batra, where we will be having very magnificent monuments carved out of the mountains. كانوا ينحتون من الجبال بيوتا آمنين مثل ما ورد في القرآن الكريم. So you have this desert, you have this Ad-Dahnan desert, you have the Sahara or Badia to Sham, Badia, Asham. So these are the three desert segments, followed by mountains, Najd, and that region which is known as Tihama. يعني هذا المناطق التي تطل على البحر. فهي جغرافيا الجزيرة العربية. كما أشرنا في يعني قلب الجزيرة العربية كانت هناك تجمعات إنسانية قديمة جدا، ربما تعود إلى على الحجري، منها نقوش حجرية. النقوش الحجرية هي المسمات ببتروغليف بانل. في قرية العصبة. هناك هذا النقش في محافظة الرياض، نجد فيها هذه النقوش، يعني هي نقوش قام بها الإنسان القديم. فهذه النقوش تدل على أنه كان هناك هذا التجمع في هذا الزمان، التجمع الإنساني في هذا الزمان. This actually constitutes the legacy of humankind, because we find that there were the human settlements. Then, of course, we have the tribal system, the tribal systems, that is the Qahtanis and Adnanis. العرب في الحقيقة كانوا مجتمعا قبليا، مشتمل على القبائل. فالقبائل العربية في الحقيقة تنقسم إلى فئتين أساسيتين، القحطانية والعدنانية. Primarily we have this classification of the Arab tribes, that is the Qahtani and Adnani. The Qahtanis consist of, they were the original Arabs belonging to Arabia Felix, that is Yemen, Ya'rub, Sabah, Himyar, Kahlan, etc. Then we have Adnan, that is Ma'ad, Nizar, Rabi'a, Mudar, Anmar, Ayad, etc. This image actually shows the presence of the division of the Arab tribes. So Al-Kinda was over there, one of the very significant tribes. Mahra was over there. Al-Haris in and around Najd. Khasa'am we have. Then we have Kilab, Asad, Tay, Kalb وغيرها. فكل هذه القبائل. تميم، إذا غضبت عليك بنو تميم حسبت الناس كلهم من غضابة. These are the very significant tribes whose names have been mentioned in a number of texts in Arabic poetry, etc. This Adnani tribe has been classified, has been divided into other segments. It stretches to a wider strata. Then we have the Qahtani tribes, which is again the Adnani tribes. This is the tribe to which belonged Prophet Muhammad in a later phase of history. Then we have the Qahtani tribe and the division of that. Then we have the Arab Iscals. In the Arab Iscals, we'll find that there were widespread migration of the Arabs as a societal phenomenon in history, due to many geographical and historical factors, like Inkisar Sadd Ma'rib. When the Sadd Ma'rib was broken, this led to the influx of the Yemeni tribes, or the migration of Yemeni tribes from other areas to other areas. So as of now, all the Arabs, the original Arabs, the Insonian Arabs, they trace their origin to their tribes, and this is known as the Iscals, Jamajam al-Arab. So Bakr has descendants in Arabia and Iraq. Kinana has descendants in Arabia, Iraq, Egypt, Sudan, Palestine, Tunisia, Morocco, and Syria and Yemen. Hawazan has descendants in Arabia, Libya, Algeria, Morocco, Sudan, and Iraq. Likewise, Tamim in Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Palestine, Algeria, and Morocco. Azd descendants in Arabia, Iraq, Levant, and North Africa. Ghatfan has descendants in Arabia and the Maghrib region. Mazhij has descendants in Arabia, Syria, and Iraq. Abdul Qais, so in Arabia, Al-Qais had descendants in Arabia, Syria, and Iraq, and so on and so forth. So these are the skills of Arab. So hence we can find that they have to, when someone claims that he is originally Arab, he has to show the evidence that he belongs to this. So with this we'll be concluding that part of lecture, and in next lectures we'll be discussing other aspects of this theme. Thank you very much.